how I almost watched a healthy man collapse in front of me because of a mistake millions of people make every single day. Yeah, I'm serious. And if you're over 40, or honestly even younger, you need to hear this before it's too late. So let me ask you something real quick. When you feel a strange pressure in your chest, maybe a little tightness, maybe you feel tired or dizzy, what do? Do you brush it off and say, it's probably nothing. Maybe I just slept weird. Maybe it's gas. Maybe I'm just stressed. If you've ever done that, you're not alone. Because that exact reaction, ignoring early warning signs, is the one deadly mistake cardiologists say sends thousands of people straight into emergency rooms every year. And man, the crazy part is most of them thought they were perfectly healthy just hours before. No joke. A few months ago, I was sitting in a small cafe, just minding my own business, when this older gentleman at the table next to me suddenly leaned back in his chair, put his hand on his chest, and muttered something like, "Huh? Weird must have been that sandwich." Now at first, nobody panicked. Not even him. He laughed it off, took another sip of coffee, but his face started turning pale. And there was this moment, this weird, quiet moment, where you could tell something was very wrong. And still he kept saying, "Nah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Just indigestion." That phrase right there. Just indigestion. Doctors hear it all the time. Because heart attacks rarely look like what we see in movies. You know, the dramatic chest clutching, dramatic collapse, ambulance sirens screaming. Real life is sneakier. Real life whispers first. And people ignore whispers. See, cardiologists say the biggest killer isn't just cholesterol, or bad diet, or lack of exercise. It's delay. Delay in recognizing symptoms. Delay in seeking help. Delay because people think they're toughing it out. And that delay? Sometimes it costs heart muscle. Sometimes it costs lives. And here's the part that'll blow your mind. Many heart attacks start hours before people even realize what's happening. The body gives signals. Subtle ones. A tight chest that comes and goes. A weird ache in the jaw. Pain in the left arm. Sometimes the right arm too. Sweating for no reason. Nausea. Feeling like you suddenly ran a marathon, even though you're just sitting there watching TV. But instead of thinking heart attack, people think bad lunch, stress, I need to lie down, or the classic, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Tomorrow. That word has killed more people than almost anything else when it comes to heart health. Because when blood flow to the heart muscle, it's blocked. Every minute counts. Literally every minute. Doctors call it, time is muscle. The longer you wait, the more heart muscle dies. And the scary part? Studies show many patients wait 2 to 6 hours before seeking help. Sometimes even longer. Imagine that. The heart crying for oxygen. And people just sitting on the couch thinking they'll sleep it off. That's the mistake. The deadly one. Ignoring the first warning. Now let's be real for a second. A lot of people do this because they feel embarrassed. Yeah, embarrassed. They don't want to call emergency services and find out it's just gas. They don't want to make a scene. They don't want to bother anyone. But ask any cardiologist in America, and they'll tell you the same thing. They would much rather see you in the ER, nothing than see you too late. No debate. And here's something else that surprises people. Heart attack symptoms are different for everyone. Some people feel crushing chest pain. Others feel almost nothing. Women especially often have quieter symptoms. Fatigue, nausea, back pain, shortness of breath. Stuff that's easy to misread as stress or flu, which means thousands of women ignore heart attacks, thinking they're just tired. Crazy, right? The body's alarm system is sounding. And we hit snooze. Over and over. Now back to that man in the cafe. After about 10 minutes, he tried standing up, but he couldn't. His knees buckled. People rushed over. Someone called 911, and when paramedics arrived, the first thing they asked was, "Sir, how long have you been feeling this?" He paused, shrugged, and said something like, "Maybe. An hour? Maybe 2? 2 hours. That's a long time when your heart is starving for oxygen." Luckily, he survived. But doctors later said the damage could have been far worse if help arrived even a little later. And stories like that happen every single day across America. People ignoring symptoms, hoping they'll disappear. Now listen, I'm not saying every chest pain means heart attack. Not at all. But when something feels wrong, really wrong, the smartest move isn't denial. It's action. Because modern medicine can do incredible things if patients arrive early. Clot-busting drugs, emergency angioplasty, stents that reopen arteries in minutes. Lives saved every single day. But all that technology? It only works if people show up in time. And yet millions still gamble with their hearts, thinking they're invincible, thinking it won't happen to them, until it does. And that's why doctors keep repeating the same message over and over again. If you feel unusual chest pressure, pain spreading to the arm, jaw, or back, shortness of breath, sudden sweating, dizziness, or nausea, don't wait. Don't tough it out. Call for help. Seriously, your heart doesn't get second chances the way we think it does. Once muscle dies, it's gone. Forever. And here's the ironic part. The people most likely to delay treatment are often the ones who consider themselves strong, independent, tough. The very traits they're proud of become the reason they wait too long. Toughness becomes silence. Silence becomes danger. And before we move on, I gotta ask you something. Have you ever ignored a weird symptom because you thought it was nothing? Be honest. Drop a comment below and share your experience. Because your story might actually help someone else recognize a warning sign before it's too late. And if this message could help a friend or family member, hit that share button. Seriously, it might save a life someday. All right, because in the next part, we're going deeper into why this mistake happens and the shocking everyday habits that quietly push millions of hearts closer to disaster without people even realizing it. So why do so many people ignore heart attack symptoms, even when the body is practically shouting for help? It's a weird mix of psychology, culture, and plain old denial. Yeah, denial is a powerful thing. People tell themselves stories to feel safe. I'm too young. I work out. Heart attacks happen to other people. But cardiologists see the truth every day. Heart attacks don't care about your excuses. They don't check your calendar first. They don't ask if you're busy. They just happen. And sometimes the signs begin days earlier. Little clues the body drops like breadcrumbs. Unusual fatigue, trouble breathing during normal activity, random chest pressure that comes and goes. A lot of survivors later say the same thing, looking back. The signs were there, but in the moment, they seemed harmless. Another reason people ignore symptoms is fear. Not fear of dying, oddly enough. Fear of being wrong. Fear of looking foolish. Imagine that. Someone would rather risk their life than risk embarrassment. That's human psychology in action. But here's the thing doctors wish everyone understood. Emergency rooms exist for exactly this reason. If you think you're having a heart attack, calling for help isn't dramatic. It's smart. Actually, it's heroic. Because you're giving your heart a fighting chance. And timing really does matter more than people realize. The first hour after a heart attack begins is sometimes called the golden hour. Get treatment then, and survival chances skyrocket. Wait too long, and damage spreads like wildfire through heart muscle. It's brutal and completely preventable in many cases. Now let's talk about everyday habits that quietly increase risk. The stuff people call normal. Ultra-processed foods loaded with hidden sugars. Sitting for 10 hours a day. Chronic stress that never shuts off. Sleeping 5 hours a night because work emails won't stop buzzing. These habits slowly damage arteries year after year. Plaque building up silently. Until one day, a clot forms and blocks blood flow. Boom, heart attack. And the person says, "But I felt fine yesterday." Of course they did. Heart disease often builds quietly for decades before showing itself. That's why prevention matters. Routine checkups, blood pressure monitoring, cholesterol control, regular movement, balanced diet. Yeah, you've heard it all before, but there's a reason doctors repeat it. Because it works. Simple habits done consistently protect the heart in ways fancy medicine sometimes can't. Walk more. Eat real food. Sleep properly. Manage stress before it manages you. Sounds basic, but basic saves lives. And there's another thing people underestimate. Dehydration. Believe it or not, being chronically dehydrated thickens the blood slightly and strains the cardiovascular system. Add caffeine overload and long sedentary hours. Suddenly, the heart is working overtime. Little choices stack up over years. But the most important lesson still comes back to that one mistake we talked about earlier. Ignoring the warning signs when the body finally says, enough. The heart is incredibly resilient. But it's not indestructible. When it signals distress, it deserves attention immediately. No waiting. No guessing games. No, I'll see how I feel tomorrow. Because tomorrow might be too late. So if you remember only one thing from this entire conversation, let it be this. Listen to your body and act fast. Chest pressure, arm pain, shortness of breath, nausea, sudden sweating, dizziness. Treat them seriously. Even if it turns out to be nothing, that's still a win. Peace of mind beats regret every single time. And hey, if this video opened your eyes even a little bit, do me a favor and share it with someone you care about. A parent, a spouse, a friend who always says, I'm fine, even when they're not. Sometimes the simplest message can save a life. So it is suggestion. Take care of your heart before it forces you to. Schedule regular health checkups, stay active every day, eat balanced meals with less processed food, drink enough water, manage stress, and most importantly, never ignore unusual symptoms. Acting quickly during a possible heart attack can mean the difference between life and death.